Welcome to the Talkoffame podcast. I'm Kyliemontigney, and today on Talkoffame, we're going to talk with Rachel Dara. Rachel's a rising star in the Canadian music scene, hailing from Montreal, Canada. At just 18 years old, she's already made a significant impact with her soulful voice and poignant songwriting. During the pandemic, Rachel honed her craft by hosting weekly online club concerts, which gained a dedicated following and showcased her ability to connect with audiences even in challenging times. Her debut album, The Next Big Invention, produced by the renowned Mark Howard, highlights her versatility and unique storytelling ability. Rachel's music seamlessly blends indie, alternative, and folk influences, creating a sound that is both fresh and timeless. Rachel's talent has not gone unnoticed. She recently won the International Female Rising Star and International Female Music Video of the Year awards at the International Singer-Songwriter Association Music Awards. Her single 18 has been praised for its emotional depth and lyrical honesty, resonating with listeners all around the world. Welcome to the show, Rachel.
Thank you so much, Kylie. I'm honored to be here.
So, what originally inspired you to pursue music, especially in Montreal, Canada? That's starting to become a big music scene.
Oh yeah, Montreal has a massive music scene that I don't think people know about. I know that when people think of the Canadian music scene, we think Toronto, we think Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, depending on the genre that we're playing. But Montreal is just everything in one. And you've got people like me who make folk music. We have a huge punk scene. We have a huge rap scene. We have everything all in one. And I feel like there's a lot of soul in my city. So, um, as tough guy as this may seem, I I discovered music through Alvin and the Chipmunks when I was a little
Oh
kid.
my God, actually?
Oh yeah, that's how I learned about writing songs, and I was very very inspired from watching them. So I knew about art. I knew about music. I was introduced to Jackie Evancho, who was that child prodigy opera singer who won America's Got Talent when I was very, very young. And there was a period of time I could not sleep without her music. So that was my mom and my grandmother's doing. And then as I got a bit older, my dad started singing me actually a folk storytelling legend, Krista Berg. He started singing me the Spanish train track every night before I went to sleep. And I found it very interesting that he was singing, but he was telling a story. It wasn't just a pop song, it wasn't just an opera song that I was used to that I couldn't necessarily understand. And though the song terrified me, it kind of inspired me in a way. And those two elements meshed with Alvin and the Chipmunks in a little 6 year old's mind was very, very mind blowing because I figured out that I could make things by myself. And I learned to read when I was 3 years old. I learned to write in kindergarten, like most kids do. So I was already on track for writing, and I had a relatively solid understanding of what the structure of a song is like. So when I was 6.5 years old, I wrote my first song. I don't really consider it a song, but it was the first time I experimented with songwriting. And then when I was 9, I actually wrote a song, and ever since then, I just never stopped.
Oh my God. Like the way you got inspiration from Alvin the Chipmunks is literally hilarious.
Oh yeah.
The fact that I watch Alvin and Chipmunks like every single day is like it's honestly a good movie, but to get inspiration from it is literally a different story.
Oh yeah. It's a great movie, but I don't think people realize how many elements of pop culture are embedded into that movie. So when you have kids who like have empty brains and they're very interested in chipmunks and pop stars, especially in 2012 when Katy Perry and Lady Gaga were humongous. Still love
Hmm.
them both. Um, I was like, oh wow, I want to do what these chipmunks are doing, so I'm
Hmm.
going to do it.
And plus, I'm playing in front of like big ass crowds. Like that's literally every single songwriter's dream.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like,
Me
do
and
you have a favorite Alvin and Chipmunks movie?
I think my favorite one was the Squeakquel. I think that's the one that got me into really writing.
Oh my gosh, that is a good one. Like, I think I like the first one better, but I
Yeah.
do love both of them though. They're both really good, but the first
They're,
one will always have my heart though.
oh, 100%. They are such whoever wrote the movie, I don't know. But brilliant. Just brilliant ideas.
Like, whoever wrote the movie, I don't know who it is, must be Harvard smart for that writing that movie. Because it's literally like our childhood. Like, that's like the best movie of our childhood.
100%.
So, during the pandemic, you hosted weekly COVID concerts. Like, what motivated you to connect with your audience this way?
I did. Well, I was bored, like anyone else was, and I wanted to make music. So I was making music, but I wanted people to hear my music. I was just starting out in the industry because I'm a small artist, but I couldn't perform. I couldn't perform. There was nowhere to do it, so might as well make do, play online. And my dad came up with the idea of doing weekly live streams, and I said, okay, that's a great idea. Let's call it COVID concerts. And I started doing it every weekend, every Saturday, and eventually people started watching, like on Facebook. I had a following of people who would watch. On Instagram, I had not as many, but I had people watching every week. And through those concerts, I was really able to develop my craft and it gave me an opportunity to practice. So I don't think I would be where I am right now in terms of music and being an artist if it wasn't for those concerts.
I
And
know, like especially
yeah,
online, like when our world shut down, we literally had nothing to do. We couldn't do stuff in person. I don't know how it was in Canada when it happened, but in the United States, it literally got down far and never got back up after a few years.
oh yeah. Um I come from an immunocompromised family. So when people went back to school from online school after about 6 months, I was online for another year and a half. So
Actually,
yes. So I
that's
spent my
crazy.
whole seventh grade, eighth grade in my room. So I kind of became like this. I became like this niche, weird kid. But that person is who got me through number one through the pandemic, and number two to the point where I am now. So that those songs that I wrote at 13 and 14, all the music that you're listening to, all the music that you found online, that's where it's from. It's all
Exactly. And especially being stuck in your room at home for 2 years or so, like
yeah.
you literally get bored out of your mind and don't know who you are. Because when I was at home all the time during the pandemic, I literally was ready to lose my mind and wanted to live life.
Same. Same. I went
Who,
to a mall
who
with
didn't,
friends.
honestly?
Yeah. I was 16 the first time I went to a mall with friends.
Oh my God, 16?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's insane.
Oh yeah. It
So
is.
like you literally like I don't know how Canada does it, like Canada does it, but start going to a mall first time at 16 is something that I never heard before.
That's a me thing. That's not an everybody else thing. I can guarantee you everybody's at malls. I love malls though. I've never I felt very like, and I write songs about this, and it's gonna come up in our conversation. I've never felt or I've always felt like attached to my parents, to my family. And at 13 is usually the age where you start spending more time with friends, you start expanding. And when the
Mm,
pandemic hit, I didn't get that opportunity. So that kind of explains it. Because when you're 16, you start being a little bit more independent, you're a bit more
yeah.
comfortable, or for most people a lot more comfortable. um so ever since then I've been enjoying my malls. I love
I
malls.
know, might as well if you hang out with friends, that's a big tool,
Oh yeah.
honestly. Like after 16, I would rather just go hang out with friends than just staying home. But with the pandemic, that changed. And basically, we're spending time with our family more than we want to.
Oh yeah, 100%. I do love my family though, and I'm very grateful that they support me, and I'm glad that out of all the families I could have been stuck with, it's this one.
I know. It's a thrill to be in the family we have, but after a while, you're just like, I'm sick of this. I want to go
I
out with.
get that. Oh yeah.
But everyone feels differently. But after time, during COVID, you're just done sitting at home with family every single day. You're just like, bro, I just want to get out of the house and do something with my
Yeah,
friends at this point.
that's it. You just wanna live. But at the same time, those feelings, those angsty, like angry feelings got me to a point where I was writing so many songs about them, and I'm using them now.
You basically released most of them. Like the mo like that was honestly the time where songwriters were at their peak to writing songs. Like that was since we had a lot of free time, writers have more dedication and time to actually write music compared to now.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So
Very great.
with your album, like can you share a bit about what inspired that album, the ne about your next album actually, and how you
100%.
collaborated with Mark on its sound?
So, the next big invention was entirely written during the pandemic when I had all that time on my hands. And I actually just put out the title track of the album. So the song, The Next Big Invention, came out yesterday.
Mhm.
And I just, every single song is about something different. But at the same time, when you put it all together, it all makes sense. It's all part of the same niche. And some of the songs are interconnected. But to generalize and to summarize what it's about, well, it's just me. It's just who I am, who I was in that point of my life where I was stuck in something that I just couldn't get out of, and I just needed to express myself. So the next big invention, though, the song that came out yesterday, I had written that inspired by an oral presentation that this kid in my class had made online. And obviously, I had my camera and my mic off, so I still listened though. I was always present. And there's this girl who ended her speech with, "You never know what could end up being the next big invention." And I don't know what clicked in my head there, but I realized I suck at math and sciences, but I'm a songwriter. I make music. I create art. People listen to my art. People feel inspired based off of my art. So what if I write the next big invention? What if I make the next big invention? So I kind of compiled this song, these concepts of number one, um, coming out of a dark place and spreading light. And no matter how corny that sounds, it's genuinely what I felt in the moment when I was writing it. Number two, just trying to envisioning a future where I can create freely for the rest of my life and inspire people and just grow off of the past and the future.
I love it. Like, did you write this song during the pandemic?
Yes, I did.
Oh, one of the few that actually were written during the pandemic. Oh my gosh, that you released? Like, did you write the whole album during the pandemic too, or was it kind of like widespread?
This entire album was written and recorded during the pandemic. And in 2021, after I'd written all these songs, I was connected to Mark Howard through a booking agent. Now, Mark, um, I know not many people are familiar with producers, and that's okay. Um, but that's kind of what Mark wanted. He likes to lay on the low side, but he's very accomplished. He's worked with Joni Mitchell. He's worked with U2. He's worked with Bob Dylan, who he won a Grammy for,
Hmm.
and his a booking agent that he was connected to in New Brunswick. Which, for context, Canada is really really big geographically. I live in Montreal. New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. New Brunswick is like 15 hours away. Nova Scotia is 18 hours away by car. Um, so, long story short, a wonderful booking agent called us up, connected us with Mark, and my dad and I ended up making an 18-hour long drive trip to Nova Scotia to record this album in Mark's cabin, this lifestyle album. So it's an imperfect album because it was recorded live. Um, and even though it was recorded in 2021, all of this music is relevant. That's why I'm putting it out now. Um,
Especially nowadays, once the pandemic is over, now people can actually relate to what they lived during
yeah,
that time.
and not all of it is. There's one song specifically that's really about the pandemic. That's Young and Alone. That's ironically my most streamed song on Spotify. Um, but my other music, it's interconnected, like it's interconnected to everything that's going on. Some songs I wrote back then on that album, honestly, I feel like I relate to more now. Like the song 18, I wrote it about being terrified of turning 18. I turned 18 2 weeks ago.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, happy early birthday. My
thank-
birthday was literally at the end of September.
was it really? We're like the same age. That's crazy.
Yeah, we are. So you just turned 18, you did?
I just turned 18 and you also
Literally same. I think then I'm probably like when's your birthday?
October 13th.
Oh, then I'm probably like 2 or 3 weeks older than you. Mine's September 25th.
Oh, no way. We're both Libras.
I know, so I'm like
Yeah,
probably like 2 weeks like ahead of you.
that's crazy. So you're a senior in high school.
Are you?
I graduated high school in June, but here it works differently. We graduate in grade 11 and then we go to a college called CEGEP. CEGEP is like pre-university college and there's a whole bunch of CEGEPs in Montreal.
Oh, I
So
did not know that. I thought it was like Canada was grade 12 too.
in Ontario and most provinces, yes, but in Quebec, where I am, it's very different. We've got high school from grade 7 to grade 11. You're a senior in high school in grade 11. You're a junior in grade 11, in grade 7, grade 8, and grade 9, I think. And you graduate in grade 11. You go to CEGEP if you're planning to pursue your education, and then you go to university.
That's crazy. I did not know that because you're a senior in grade 12. It's like it goes from like our high school system is 9 through 12, so freshman is
Sophomore,
9, sophomores 10, juniors 11, seniors 12 for
I think.
US system. But that's crazy because I did not know that's how Canada's system works, especially where you are.
Oh yeah, it's cool. Honestly, I kind of like it better this way because going to a university halfway across the country is kind of like crazy to just in my head. I can't imagine doing it. Because it's kind of like a system. I like that in CJEP you kind of, it feels like college, but then you go home and you're with your family and you feel like you have more of a sense of freedom than you do in high school, but you go home and things kind of make sense. Even in university, most people in Montreal uh, don't study abroad. There's two main English universities. There's many French universities, but there's McGill University and Concordia, and most English students either go to one or the other. So it's a
Mm,
cool system. I like it. It's cozy.
it is. Now I want to learn more about that system now. I might look it up after this.
It's cool.
But the last question I have for you is like, what's next for you and your music?
So I felt I've had a lot going on. I spent the summer playing show by festival by festival. Even in the US, I played my first shows in the US. I played the New York State Fair and the Brew Festival in Sackett Harbor, New York, and the Wally Lake Festival in Pennsylvania. And I will be playing next year I'll be doing like a mini, I'd call it a tour, playing some more festivals in the US and in Canada. But more importantly, last summer, I went and I recorded another EP extended play in Toronto, so 6 hours away from home, with another producer, Josh Goldman, who actually was my first ever guitar teacher and just happens to have a studio where everything is recorded on analog. So we recorded it's kind of lifestyle. It's not, I wouldn't call it lifestyle. It's a completely digitally recorded, not digitally, analogically, that's not a word, recorded EP. So there's 3 songs on it. And we had a drummer, Daniel McLean, drumming on it. My producer, Josh, was on the bass. I was on guitar and vocals. And that should be coming out shortly. So I'm
That's
very, very excited for the world to hear it. It's more of because I'm always growing as a person, as a songwriter, and these songs are more recent.
mhm.
So they're also more instrumental. It's not just me and my guitar this time. So I'm very much looking forward to putting it out into the world and for the world to hear it.
Absolutely. I can't wait to tune in. If you
Thank
ever come on Pennsylvania, during a tour or something, let me know. I definitely love to come one of the shows whenever you decide to come down here. And I really appreciate you coming on and joining us today on today's episode.
Thank
Your music is absolutely amazing. I listened to a bunch this morning and it's really amazing, especially the 18
you.
song to go back on that one. But it was really great to chat with you and be able to meet you. I know that we've been trying to do this for a little bit, so I'm very excited to have this conversation with you.
I'm very glad that we got to talk and that I got to meet you. And I wish you nothing but the best. And I really hope that your podcast reaches more ends and that more local artists and bigger artists hear about it.
Thanks so much. That means a lot. And I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. Make sure to go check out her new song and her upcoming music. And I hope everyone enjoys the rest of your day. Make sure to like, subscribe, and review. And I'll talk to you guys very soon.